So before we get to begin, I want to first set up the expectations of what it is that most of us who are attending here, or maybe those who will get to watch the recording later, get to have in mind. So we're going to have a couple of things, given that we have 1 hour. First, we are going to understand why is it that pricing always feels difficult, even when you're good at what it is that you're doing. So that will be the first one. The second one is going to be a practical way. Basically, you're going to discover a practical way through which you're going to know whether your current price is too low or it is too high or it is even somewhat between, the right normal range. And the third thing you're going to learn is going to be how you get to calculate your real price. I mean, your real cost of delivery, because that is something that is so important. In fact, it is something that makes about 60-70% of the right price. And if you get to nail that right, you will no longer get to guess what it is that you're going to be charging from this day onwards. And the other thing could be the fourth thing you have to learn, or you're going to learn, is you're going to start identifying, or you're going to learn how you get to identify the type of client that you're going to actually, or that your price is definitely targeting, or actually targeting. And then as we sum up, the last one will be the one thing, the one simple framework you're going to walk away with. And just as Bernard said, it is basically a price framework that is going to help you get to communicate, defend, and execute your pricing in your business with greater confidence. So, at the end of it all, the goal I'm trying to get to here is I want to give you a way of thinking about your pricing, yeah, so that you can get to apply it right away. As Bernard says, we have to be grounded, yeah. It is not more of the theory, it is more of the practical. So whether you're a chef, whether you're a marketer, whether you're dealing in cars or like car dealer or car detailers, whether you have a SaaS business that is software, or whether you're dealing in a bag business or clothes. So this is going to be so important and so valuable. So the reason why that is I believe pricing itself isn't just about the number. It is more of a thinking problem. And later on, you'll understand why. So if you're ready, just as our MC or intermediator, whatever you call it, said, I hope you have a pen, a notebook, a cup of tea or coffee if you haven't, and let's kick it off. So, starting off with a first promise, that is understanding why pricing gets to feel difficult, even when you're good at what you're doing. So, I believe here, based on the few interactions we've had throughout the group, which I believe most of you are from the group, we have various businesses. We have chefs, we have marketers, we have car dealers, car detailers, we have software developers, system builders, we have bars, something like that. We have bags and all that, people dated in all those businesses. So I want to believe that you're here because you have a problem, and that problem could be or might be pricing. And I want to tell you that the reason you're struggling with pricing is not because you're bad at math. That is never the case. Your struggles with pricing always come from the root of emotions. So most of us here, we always attach emotions on the prices we tend to have. All right. So some of you might be wondering, how does emotions relate to pricing? Let me just give you a way, or let me just explain that further. You know, when you attach emotions to your prices, you reach a point where you grow a seed of doubt, because emotions always lead to doubt. And in most cases, you're going to start asking yourself, for the price I'm charging my clients, am I charging them too much? Yeah. So you see how your emotions of the prices you're setting yourself is leading to the doubt of you asking yourself, am I charging too much for what I'm no for what I'm serving, whether it is a service or whether it is a product? The second thing is you're going to have that doubt and start asking yourself, for this price I'm having or for this price I'm asking, will people actually get to pay for it? All right. And the other one that most of you here are doing, I believe, if not 99% of you, this is what you're doing. You're going to have that feeling of asking yourself, should I just get to charge what my competitors are doing? Yeah. Because we all know most businesses in Kampala are charging based on what competitors are doing. Yeah, maybe I'm into a washing bay business, just as the last masterclass we had, and everyone within that neighborhood was maybe saying 10,000 per car. Yeah, so everyone was grounded to the fact that for a normal washing bay, a car has to be 10,000. So whoever wants to start up that particular business of washing bay, they're also going to be charging 10,000. Why? Because they are copying their competitors. And that is an emotion. You feel like if you want to charge more of that, it is going to be the worst case scenario you'll ever get to. And the very last dangerous one, I think this is the worst of all, is you get to have that emotion of asking yourself, what if I get to lose out on my clients? So all these are going to be dealt with, but those are the key things, or that is the key thing as to why with every price that you get to set is always going to feel difficult. Yeah, you might be a good chef, you might be a good cook, you might be good at marketing, you might be good at car detailing, but if you attach emotions to your prices, you're always going to have that doubt in you, and it is that doubt that is going to make you self-doubt yourself. Yeah. And yeah, I know most of you might be asking, how do you get to know all this? Well, just a small thing, small story and all that is I've lived it. I remember back then when I was doing my side gigs of photography, I remember I had this one client that was forwarded to me by one of my colleagues. The client wanted to have photography, like product photos for their business. And I remember the client asked me, yo, Alan, how much are you going to charge me for the whole work? I remember myself freezing and I was like, why is that? Like I just froze from nowhere. And I believe most of y'all in your businesses, more so if you're starting out, you're going to face this challenge. But worry not, if you're in this masterclass, everything is going to be sorted. Now, this is going to be somewhat different, and I want to take you through a small, simple exercise. And I know since you have your notebooks, you don't need a calculator. You're not going to need a big spreadsheets or like a number of pages. You don't need to even overthink of it. All I want you to have is total honesty. Yeah. So if you may, in your notebooks, write down what is it that you're currently selling. That is one thing I want to ask. And it is my humble request that please you partake in this exercise because it is going to be so key, more so if you're struggling, if you're starting out, and if you want to know the deep insights of it. So I want you to write down what you're currently selling. If you're a chef, write down what you're selling. If you're a marketer, write down what you're selling. If you're into SaaS business, write down the exact thing. It could be a product, it could be a service. Just note that down. Okay. So after you get to do that, now here's why I asked you not to overthink it, but just write down with total honesty. There are 4 questions that are going to follow this. Yeah. And I'll explain to you why I'm even taking you through this exercise and what this exercise is called. Okay. So the first one is, at what price would your product or service feel so cheap that your client will question the quality? This is so important. Please, if you're partaking into this exercise, please note that down. Don't overthink it. Just be honest. So the second question, at what price at what price would you want to feel at what price would that product of yours get to feel like it's a great deal to your buyers or to your clients? Yeah. That being the second question, here comes the third. At what price would it start feeling expensive but still worth considering? Yeah. So note that down as well. And then lastly of the 4 questions is, at what price would it become too expensive for your buyers to buy? And I believe now you have 4 parameters of questions. One being the too cheap question, the second being the bargain question, the third being the the expensive question, and the fourth being the too expensive question. So I believe you have answers for that. So now I want us to reflect. I don't know if we could maybe have what is it called? An example. If someone is willing to share what it is that they jotted down in their the particular exercise. So is there anyone in maybe chat that can get to tell us that their response to the too cheap question? Anybody?
Yes.
Yes. So in regards to the too cheap question, what was your figure?
For me, since I'm here to milk this masterclass. So the first question is, at what price would your product feel so cheap? Oh, no, the first one is, what am I currently selling?
Yeah, that is your.
So I have a system, a software system.
All right. Yeah.
That helps businesses. Systematize their work, stock, inventory, blah blah blah, all that.
All right.
So software,
system basically, yeah.
Service, SaaS.
Yeah.
SaaS. So software.
Yeah.
So the first question is that, at what price would you feel so cheap that the customer? At what price would your product feel so cheap
that your clients will question its quality? Or
so for me, because I'm dealing in SaaS, the answer is free.
Free. Okay. Zero.
Hey, you asked for I want to give you so that you panic.
It is okay.
$0, sir.
All right.
Why? Because I believe that there are people on this particular platform who have used software and they download it for free. So I believe that would be at the bottom of the barrel.
All right.
Then, at what price does it feel like a great deal?
Yeah.
So I put here $15.
Okay.
Per month. I don't know how much that is. So I think that would be like 40,000, 40 something thousand.
Okay.
40, maybe 60 something, 40 something. So at what price is it a great deal?
Yeah.
Is that the option? I put $15. How much is that? I have no clue what $15 is.
Someone will help us convert within. Someone will get to help us convert dollars to shillings.
Dollars to UGX. Just a second. That's about 55,000 a month. Then, what's the next question?
At what price would it start feeling expensive but still worth considering?
Let me just put it at what price it is now.
Not yet. No.
Maybe that will help.
No.
$25.
That is the current price.
Yes.
But theoretically, not theoretically, but at what point would you feel like now it's tending to be expensive for the client, but they'll still want to buy? So I want to have that before.
So for me, what let me put it like this. So from a perspective of what price does ChatGPT tell me to put it at?
Yeah.
It tells me to put it at $35.
35. That would be that would be how much in UGX? In UGX?
That is 130,000.
Yeah, 130.
130,000 per month.
Per month. Okay. And the last one would be, at what price would it become too expensive for your buyers to say that we are not buying?
I believe if it was at about $45, if it was 160K per month, I think people would find it too expensive. That is my personal view.
So now, we are going to reflect on what you've given us. Probably, maybe there could be other people who don't feel like they want to start with zero. They have their own figures. So those people, I believe, they also did the exercise and they jotted down their numbers to these parameter questions. So
Musinguzi, I suspect, has something to say.
Okay, so let's also take Musinguzi's example. So Musinguzi, what is your answer to that too cheap question?
See, sometimes the price does not matter. You find a customer, he put a very lowest price, and the customer still again says, how much it is? Can you reduce, or you are expensive? What can you do to that customer?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we are going to deal with that in the.
Have you understood?
Yeah, I've understood the question. So I've understood, Mr. Bernard.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think Musinguzi, I think that question is going to be noted by the presenter. But what we wanted was to get an example for the questions that he asked.
Yeah.
Maybe Esther can help, can say something.
Okay.
Esther, are you there?
I think she's not there. Let's just use your example for the time's sake, so that we get it through. Okay. Anybody there?
Yeah, you can continue.
All right. So, given your example, if we are to reflect, yeah. So you mentioned your current price. What is it that you said it is? The one you're charging at the moment.
Software system.
No,
for,
the current price you're selling.
Monitoring business inventory, stock, sales, expenses, and all that.
Yeah. What is the current price you're selling your system, your software?
At about 90K.
90K. So if you are to reflect through this exercise, we get to see that this falls between the bargain and the expensive. So think of it as I think we all did basic elementary math where we had algebra. I mean, were they number lines? So you would start with 0 up to the point of, infinity, whatever the number is. So with a too cheap question, or the number line is on the extreme edge. That could be the negatives also. So in the middle, there is the bargain. So as your price, it is currently sitting in between the bargain and the expensive. It is not too expensive for the clients to say that I won't buy, but at the same time, it is not posing a threat that it is too cheap, that they're going to start doubting its quality. And this is a great example of what I would call having confidence in what it is that you're charging. So as of Mr. Bernard's example, 90K sits in between these 4 questions. So congratulations, that is a perfect price range. So that is why I needed to take you through that example. And if there was another person who had taken maybe a response to give us what they had, we would find out that during the reflection, if your price falls below the too cheap, yeah, because with SaaS, obviously you need to have trials and all that. But let's say you had a bag, yeah, and you're selling a bag. So if you sold that bag at maybe 1,000, yeah, you're selling a luxury bag at 1,000. That is below the too cheap question. Now people are going to start doubting, is that bag really that cheap to say it is of good quality? Or maybe let me put it to this perspective. You all know if iPhones are so expensive. Imagine someone showed up to your shop or showed up to your home or showed up to your doorsteps and said, I'm selling iPhone 17 at 10,000. Would you buy it really? No, because it is too cheap to believe that an iPhone is going to be going for that price. Yeah. So the same thing is going to happen if someone was selling a Mapesa phone, yeah, like a button phone at maybe 4 million. Would you buy that? That would be too expensive for you to say that Mapesa phone is worth the 4M. So basically, the activity we went through is called the pricing confidence survey, and this can be done two ways. The reason why it is if you can use it if you have an audience, you can use it if you don't have an audience. So for those of you who have audiences, you can use this as a survey to test out to people who can be eagerly and ready to give you feedback upon which you're selling, upon which your product is, upon which your service is all about. Yeah. And for those of you who don't have any sort of audience, you would take this step and do exactly this. All you have to do is have total honesty. Don't be biased. Don't put emotions onto what it is that you have as a product. Just have total honesty. So the lesson you have to take out from that activity is this. In business, more so if you're starting out with zero knowledge, the goal is not for you to have a perfect number. Nope. The goal is for you to have an acceptable range. Yeah. So why you need to have this acceptable range is your clients are now going to trust you, because as we've seen with an example of an iPhone being sold at 10,000, yeah, you lose trust because no one sells an iPhone at 10,000. Yeah. And the second thing, when you have this perfect range, your clients are going to see the value in you. Yeah. Because they are going to equate what the price you're asking with the value that you're delivering. Yeah. So 90K for a SaaS product, that is so valuable. Yeah. It is value for the money. Yeah. And at the same time, why I'm saying if you're starting out as a beginner, this is going to help you a lot because your business is going to remain profitable. You're going to have a perfect range where your business is running, and at the same time, you have clients. Okay. So that is it. Now, if you plan to take this a step ahead, yeah, and stand by I believe it's the motto that we move by in our group, to escape normal business. Because those that are not living the normal business, they just want to sell off and go. But if you want to escape normal business, it means you're going to need to have some sort of profits. And that is where this pricing confidence survey won't help. It is good for those starting out with no idea, but if you want to take it a step further, you don't have to use it. And why I'm saying that is because, one, it poses some dangerous threats. Yeah, because one, customers, they don't know what your costs are. Yeah, because as a business, there are costs that you incur, there are costs that you have to undertake. Yeah, and that is one thing clients don't get to understand. So if you're using your price range structure, yeah, to determine your sales or to determine what it is that you're going to charge, I mean, you're going to lose out because clients don't get to know that, right? And the second thing, your clients don't know your profit goals. You're into business because you want profits. It is from the profits that you're going to be able to pay yourself. So because clients don't know, customers don't know your profit goals, it's only you who knows that. Then when you go by the survey as a means of finding your price, it is going to pose a threat. All right. So if the survey is if the survey is something you're going to look out for as an answer, I would highly suggest you don't, unless if you're just starting. Yeah, meaning that is going to be your starting point. So I hope I've delivered on the first promise, where I said, one, we've understood why pricing is always going to feel difficult, even when you're good at what it is you're doing. I've given you a practical way of knowing whether what it is that you're selling is either too low, either too high, or somewhat in the perfect range. That is what we've just covered in that simple practical exercise. And now, the core of this session, I believe if you aren't active, if you aren't attending, this is the part you're going to need to, be attentive about, is how do you get to calculate your real cost of delivery? Yeah, so that you're no longer guessing what it is that you charge. So allow me phrase this by saying, how do you get to calculate your price? Because it is the reason we are here. Now, before you get to compare your prices with your competitors, who charges what, should I charge this? Before you even get to crunch numbers and think, oh, what could be the perfect price range for me to charge? What could be the worst? What could be the best? Yeah. And before you even sit in situations where you put yourself in self-doubt and start guessing what it is that you should be charging, you need to have yourself a strong foundation. Yeah. Because all strong businesses have to, have their roots grounded to a strong pillar of foundation. Yeah. Now, most of us here, we also that we have priced our businesses based on emotions, and that is why pricing has become somewhat difficult, somewhat a problem to us. Yeah, because as we saw, due to the emotions we tend to have, we get to think that it is too much if I ask for this. Based on this, we say, will people really get to pay for this? Will this get to match what my competitors are charging? And we saw that is emotional. So let's look at the structure part, and that is where the framework comes into play. And the framework is price. That is PRICE. Now, all these are 5 pillar elements, but the key one is going to be the R. R is going to be the star of the day. But you can't derive to R without first knowing the P. Yeah. So this works in a sequential way. Yeah. So let's address the P before we get to the star of the day. So when I was going through my research, because few books get to talk about this, few people get to talk about pricing in businesses, I came with this framework, as Bernard said in the introduction, the price. So P, in my own opinion, it was perceived value. Yeah. And the way you're going to look at this is 2 ways. Perceived value can be looked at from the perspective of how your clients get to see you. Yeah. So I think it was about 2 or 3 days ago in the group, I posted a video of some gentleman who was giving out juice. Yeah. That is Minute Maid. Yeah. And I asked, what is it that you're seeing? What lesson are you getting from all this? Yeah. So those who shared, you got the lesson. That was the juice that was going for $1. There is a way you perceive the person to be. Yeah. And then the juice that was going for $50, there is a way you perceive the person to be. And I remember Bernard mentioned that, the way you dress is, determining so much the price you're going to charge. And that was perception. Yeah. How is it that your clients, how is it that clients get to see you? That is the first way you look at perception or perceived value. The second way you look at that is, what does it feel like? What do your clients feel it's worth before you even get to mention your price? Yeah. Or what does it even get to feel like before you even get to talk math? Yeah. Because the way you make your clients feel, that is the experience. Yeah. Before you state your number, plays a big role. Yeah. That is why when you head over to certain places, I remember once either on a TikTok live or a masterclass, I don't recall very well, and Bernard said that he went to a certain client and said, you have a lot of expensive clients. Why don't you maybe give them whiskey? Why don't you give them something? I think it was somewhere related to celebrities that wanted to buy, undergarments or so. I think Mr. Bernard recalls that. But all that Mr. Bernard was trying to put into this client is perception. Yeah. Remember, people don't buy what it is that you do. That is an activity. No one cares about it. All they get to pay for is what is it that they believe you're worth to them. Yeah. So if you're worth $1, that is it that they're going to pay you. Yeah. Meaning that if they look at your brand, if they look at the way you communicate, if they look at the way you're presenting yourself as confident, yeah, they are going to pay you an amount that is equivalent to that. But if in the other round, they get to see you as someone who is cheap, someone who is uncertain, someone who is inconsistent, someone who is unrecognizable, I mean, trust me, your price is going to be too high for them. And they won't even bother asking how much is it. That is where you find people saying, I'll get to think about it. It is not because they want to think about it, but it is because their perceived value or view is not matching up to their expectations. Because as for you, you're trying to sell them an activity, but that activity to them, they don't believe it's one. All right. So let me be practical and give you another example. I know here we have a chef. Yeah. So, Mr. Chef, I don't know whether you're on this call, but this is what I'm going to tell you. You're not into selling food, but you're selling the peace of mind for an event. Yeah. So this is a peace of mind for an event that your clients are going to pay for, not your food. Yeah. So the perceived value or the worthiness of your peace of mind on that event in regards to food is what it is they're going to pay for. If you're a marketer, recently we had someone join the group she was into branding, jackets and all that. Mrs., if you're selling maybe branded jackets and all that, no one is going to pay you for that because they are not paying for what it is that you do. They are paying for the outcome of what it is that you do, which is growth. Yeah. So your branded jackets are going to help this business grow. So that is what they are paying for. If you're a laundry owner, you're selling convenience, and that is what they are paying for. So if you're into SaaS, you're selling them saved time, efficiency, and results, and that is what they're paying for. So the keynote here is people don't get to buy outcomes. I mean, people get to buy outcomes, but not the activities that you say you do. So I hope that is clear. Now we move on. So you see how that gets to transition. You have to first be presentable so that you make your clients feel like having their time with you is worth it. Yeah. Now, that led me to the most important part, which is real cost. Yeah. And now this is where the part or the promise I made that you're going to learn how to calculate your real cost in real time. Most of us here, or most businesses, we don't underprice because we feel like we're generous. No one goes into business because you have that generosity heart that, oh, I feel like I'm generous, I need to give back to the community. Unless if you're rich. But the fact that you started up a business is you wanted to make money. So generosity isn't part of the thing, at least for now. So you're not into business because you're generous, all right? You underprice because you don't know what it really costs you to deliver. Yeah. So Mr. Bernard says he's into SaaS, software as a service. Yeah. So you need to know, what does it take me to deliver my software as a service? Yeah. So most of us here, we're always good at, calculating what it is that we spend, but very few of us really get to calculate the cost of delivery. Yeah. So we are going to look at that. And hence, the fact that you don't get to calculate your cost of delivery, it is one of the reasons as to why you're always going to feel like you're busy. You have many clients. You're always busy. You're always doing ABCD in your business, but you're still actually broke, like not having enough money to sustain your business. Yeah. So let's change that. The way you're going to calculate your real cost, you're going to need to have 3 parameters. Yeah. The first one is going to be, you have to know your direct costs. The second one, you're going to have to know your hidden costs. Yeah, that is so important. And then the most efficient one that most pricing advice never gets to talk about is your energy cost. Yeah. So in detail, let's look at what these are. Yeah. I hope you're taking notes. I hope I'm not too fast. I hope we're all following. So starting off with the direct costs. These are the obvious costs that are going to require you to deliver the service. They are the obvious costs that are going to require you to deliver your product. Yeah. So if you're into bag selling, those are the costs that you're going to incur in the process of you getting the bag from wherever you got it, maybe from the manufacturer to the hands of your client. Yeah. If it is SaaS, that is from ideation to packaging to everything until you deliver that to serve its purpose. That is onto the client. So I like to give examples. Let's go with a chef. For a chef to have a one menu dish, you're going to need to have a bunch of items. Yeah. So that could be the ingredients. Yeah. It could be food. It could be spices. It could be sauce. It could be what? All those cost money. So what most people don't get to do is calculate for that. So the fact that you're here, I believe from this day onwards, these are the things you're going to start to put much emphasis on. So you have to account for each and every penny you spend on those ingredients. If you bought matoke at 20,000, note that down. If you bought spices, Reiko and all that at 5,000, add that up. That is 20,000 plus 5,000. You'll need to use gas or charcoal or electricity. Yeah. So that is a bill you have to write down. You need to have maybe cooking oil, a liter. Write that down. You need packaging if you're doing delivery. You need transport if you're doing delivery. Transport for yourself from the market trips you get to make. That maybe you work in Kawala, but you shop from Nakasero. That is all transport. You need to note that down. Yeah. And you need to note rent. If you have employees, that is money you spend out. Yeah? So add up all the expenses you get to make in the production or in the preparation of that one menu dish, and the summation you're going to have, or the total figure you're going to have, is what we call the direct costs. Yeah. So it is what required you. It is the cost that you incurred to deliver your full menu to the client. Yeah. So that is one. I'm going to give maybe one or two more examples. I'm going to be fast with this because now you get the idea. So if you're into laundry, we had sprinkles. I hope I'm mentioning the name right. So you're going to incur water bills. Note that down. You're going to need detergent. It costs something. Note the price down. Electricity. Maintenance. That is maintenance for your breakdowns of machines. Packaging. I believe you do deliveries. You buy those big blue suit veras that if clients don't bring their suit, whatever. Those guys who put on suits, best. You pay rent. You pay border guys if you do delivery. So that is it. Add up all that. It's going to give you your direct cost. If you're selling bags, you incurred costs. I think last time we mentioned of going to China and all that. There are costs that you're going to incur. Yeah. The last time I tried to do it, someone told me, you're going to pay factory price, and then you're going to pay maybe $2 to get the product from the factory to your warehouse, and then from the warehouse, then you pay shipping fee, and then shipping fee to Nakawa. Then I believe you have to do some clearing. There is some money you get to pay, and then from there, you're going to pay maybe a tukutuku guy to bring your order or products from Nakawa to your shop. And then the other costs be mindful of whatever expense you get to make in your business. All right. So note all that down. That is what is going to be your direct cost. So if you're dealing into SaaS, you pay hosting. You pay for APIs, you pay for domains, you pay for maybe subscriptions, email subscriptions, so that you get to have an email of whatever clients get to subscribe to your software. You have tools with it. Recently, I saw Mr. Bernard doing a bundle package of you buy a software, and then they give you a printer. You incurred costs of maybe acquiring the printers. Add that up all, and that gives you the direct cost. So now, the first parameter, we all understand how it comes about and how you account for it. Now, the second one, that is the hidden cost. And this is where most of our profits get to disappear. And you find ourselves so busy, we find ourselves so busy that we are working from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., but we are not being profitable. It is because of these small hidden costs. And I bet 90% of us who are here, we never get to account for this. So for those wondering, this could be the meetings you get to have, the revisions of the works you do, the follow-up calls, administration works, your customer support, your traveling time, your following up on payments. Honestly, a question maybe I can get to ask, maybe you can leave it within the messaging part where we said you'll respond in messages. Who amongst you gets to account for all these? Like you say, you wake up, you account for the payment follow-ups, you account for customer support, you account for admin work, you account for follow-up calls, you account for the revisions, meetings. So being that we have to be grounded, just as Bernard says, here's an example. This is going to be much of a marketer example for the lady who just joined in. I'm failing to understand the name. The one who does branding and all that. So as a person, you may agree with a client to have a one campaign part. And Without that, throughout that, maybe after agreeing that you're going to do for me, maybe I'm trying to campaign for this month, I want to get my sales, blah blah campaign, but you understand that campaign. So after 2-3 days, a client comes in and says, oh, maybe can you change this? Maybe I don't like that color. Can you get to do this? So revisions keep popping up. Do you ever get time to account for that? No, I bet you don't. All you got to say, and being a client, I know what it feels. Because when I was writing my book, it reached a point where I was designing my, I was like collaborating with a person who was designing my cover. At first, I called it Price Right. Yeah. So after sitting down, thinking about it all the night, after 2-3 days, I called the guy back. Like, you know what? Can you say price it right? Yeah. But I don't like this color. We kept doing revisions. Mind you, each copy, like we had a copy of Price Right, finalized and all that and delivered. But I didn't like it. So I called the guy, you know what? I don't like price right. Make it price sheet right. And then a lot of material was wasted. A lot of his time was wasted. A lot of ink was wasted. Electricity was, being consumed. But I didn't pay for any of that. I'm sorry, my guy, if you're watching this, I'm sorry for that. But being a client, that is what you have to expect from me. I'm going to make all these revisions. But it is upon you to account for all that. If you don't account for that, you're going to find yourself busy 24/7, but not being profitable. Or maybe the profits you would have gained is what it is that now you're going to start, distributing within electricity bills, power bills, water bills. And at the end of the day, your business won't be profitable and hence costing you something. So I won't go into much details about other examples. Maybe I won't be so detailed about other examples. But the question you need to ask yourself to guide you when it comes to these hidden costs is, what kind of work are you doing that nobody is paying you for? Yeah. So as for my editor, I wasn't paying him to do these changes, but all these changes costed him money and he had to incur the cost one way or the other. All right. Now, the third parameter, we said there are three. One being direct costs that we've already looked at and we've seen examples. The other being hidden costs. And now the other important one, which is energy cost. So I said this is where most of the pricing advice stops. But as usual, at the stop of anything, there comes the start of something. Yeah. So if advice stops there, another problem comes up, which is burnout. Yeah. I bet most of you work Monday to Monday, always exhausted, dozing at your workplace, but you don't think about it. So for those of you who are asking, what is burnout? That's total burnout. You feel like you hate your job so much, but you have nothing to do. Okay. So, because honestly speaking, all of the work that you get to do requires the same amount of energy if you're to stay at the top of the game. Yeah. But mind you, 1 hour of posting content is not the same as an hour of dealing with a difficult client. We can all testify if you're into the group. And by the way, if you have people who want to join, please recommend the group because it is so valuable. We had an issue some time back where a client, like a service provider, that is, was it a laundry lady? She did the work. It was easy. But when it came to payments, they had to take hours and hours of dealing with that client to pay back. Mr. Bernard, you can testify to that. Yeah. So 1 hour building a website is not the same as an hour fixing a critical system failure. Yeah. Energy matters. And most of your businesses, you don't get to account for that. Yeah. But worry not. The fact that you're here, this, I believe, is one of the things you're going to be implementing right away. Now, being as someone who is obsessed with math and numbers, because if you want to be good with pricing, you have to be obsessed with numbers and math. Let me get to share with you what I would call the energy formula. Yeah. So for you to understand the energy formula or your energy cost, you need to know that energy is just a byproduct of time and intensity. Let me break that down. let me break that down. If you're a chef and it takes you 2 hours to cook a meal of 30 people, yeah, it means the ease or intensity or the ease at which you do it, yeah, is 2 hours, yeah. So intensity then becomes equivalent to the ease at which you do it. And in most cases, it is hard for us to quantify for the ease. But the best way you can get to do that is you get to have yourself a simple energy scorecard. That is from a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being easy, 2 being moderate, 3 being hard, 4 being complex, and 5 being extremely demanding. So going back to that example of a chef, for you to know the energy cost of making a meal of 30 people in 2 hours, because I believe it is easier for you to do, meaning the intensity or the ease is going to be maybe moderate. And we saw the scale that moderate stands at 2. Yeah. So each and every market or each and every niche, pardon me for the big words, but that is how I learned it. Maybe later on, Mr. Bernard will try and break it down. But for each and every business, there has to be the ease at which you do something. Yeah. So your intensity then becomes 2. So if you're doing, on the flip side of that, if you're now required to make a meal of 300 people in 2 hours, I believe that is going to be extremely tiresome, extremely hard, extremely intense, meaning the intensity of doing that meal for 300 people in 2 hours is going to be high. And if we are to rate the intensity using our simple scale, it means it is going to be too high, yeah, which is maybe a 5, yeah. So how you get to calculate this, yeah, it is like this. If it takes you 1 hour to get the work done, which is easy, it means you're going to get that 1 hour multiplied by the intensity rate we gave. Easy is 1. So 1 hour multiplied by 1, you have 1 unit of cost. And when you go to your scale, that real cost is going to be direct cost, which is, let's say, give an example that it was 2,000, yeah, plus the hidden cost, maybe it was 1,500, then plus the 1, because it was so easy, yeah. But if you're required, giving an example, if you're required to do a full strategy project, now I'm speaking to the marketer in itself, yeah, because 1 hour for you to create a social media post, it takes less than an hour. But intensity easy, meaning the energy cost is 1. But if you're required to do a full strategy project for a brand, it is going to take you hours, not just an hour. Assuming it is 10 hours, how easy is it to get that project done in those 10 hours? It is not hard, it is doable, because I believe that is your specialty. So we'll assume it is moderate or not so hard. We give it a scale of 4 as intensity. Now, your energy cost is going to be those 10 hours you put in to do a full project multiplied by the intensity, which is the ease at which you did it. Maybe 4 on the scale, meaning that your energy cost is 4 units. Should you get to charge the same price? Why? Because it doesn't get to make sense. An hour, 10 hours, it doesn't really get to add up. And I know you said it should be 30 minutes. Pricing is so long, but let me be brief with the ideal client, because it is also a promise I made myself. How you're going to identify that the type of customers you have in your business actually attract. The type of customers you have are being attracted by the price you're setting yourself is easy. First of all, you need to come to terms with understanding that not every client is supposed to be served by you. Yeah, you're known for everyone to serve. That has to be the number 1 rule, and be okay with it. Because one of the biggest reasons I've seen people struggle with, yeah, most of those I've tried to work with, is that they're trying to attract everyone. Yeah, they want to attract someone who comes in with 500. They want to attract someone who comes in with 1 million. They want to attract someone who comes with 200. But all these types of clients you're trying to attract, each one comes with a different problem. Yeah, that is why it is so crucial for you to understand what kind of client are you trying to target, so that you now start to reflect, does my price really match the client I'm trying to serve. Let me give you an exercise to, help you out. You can get your piece of paper. On one side, like draw a line between the paper. So on one side, just write this. What kinds of character or what client characters do I enjoy working with the most? On the opposite side of it, just write what client characters do I enjoy working with the least? Yeah. So you're going to find that maybe those you enjoy working with, those are the high paying clients, those that don't haggle, for those who say haggle, that pulling back now in Korea, now that is haggling. Yeah. Those that don't ask for discounts, those that don't ask for, maybe why don't you, like those that are not so demanding, those are the characters you want to serve. And the opposite of those is most definitely going to be on the other side of those you want to work with the list. So after having that list written down, here is a guiding prompt question, or maybe a question to guide you, is how does your current price get to attract the right clients you want to have? Yeah, that question is going to play a big part as far as your business is concerned. For instance, if you pose yourself as a premium chef, you shouldn't be building a price for someone who is trying to shop for the cheapest meal. Yeah, you can't tell me now my price is specifically for someone who wants a full cuisine, a luxury cuisine. Yeah, crab, what people who eat at Serena, that. Yeah, you can't tell me now that is the price you want to push on to me, someone who wants to eat katogo of 3K. Yeah. So if you're a quality dealer, you shouldn't be you shouldn't be building your price for someone looking for the cheapest vehicle available, unless if it is your ideal client, it is your ideal market, because with that, there comes a different price range. Yeah. If you're a great SaaS product, a great SaaS product builder, you shouldn't compete for free. And this is, we're so blessed to have Bernard around, because I remember at one time he said with his software, he doesn't even give free trials. You're either in or you're out. Why? Because he has so much belief in what his product can do. So he's building he built his price based on the people who want to use the product, not just try it out, not one discount, not pull strings. Yeah. So all in all, your pricing is supposed to be a filter, not just a fishing net that you throw it in the lake and grab each and every client there. All right. Now, the last two, to be so fast because time is running out, it was confidence. Now, confidence is so crucial. And there are two ways you get to look at this. One, how strongly do you believe, you as a vendor, you as a seller, do you believe in your worth? Yeah. Two, can you really get to say out your price out loud without flinching? Yeah. I think it was yesterday, I went to, downtown to purchase some beddings, and I entered the shop. Then the guy was all shy and all that. So me having that pricing knowledge, I knew I had hit a jackpot. So I bossed around. I gained wings and feathers because I was confident, because I already knew that the psychology behind. So like, who is selling? I was going, the way is so and so. I was like, so you mean you don't know what to sell? So I was playing on this girl's mind because I knew she didn't have confidence. Yeah. So I asked, how much is this? Then she was like, over this. Trust me, those overs the girl was giving gave me a suitable price range on which I should be, giving my buying price. Yeah. So for the confidence part, you need to understand that even if you have a perfect price, you did all the math right. You had your real cost, you added your buffers, you added everything. If you can't communicate it in a more confident way, you're always going to lose the power, just as that girl. So they lost the power, and I ended up buying something at a cheaper price. That's it. And then lastly, it is execution. How do you get to deliver and defend what your price promised? Remember, if you say that you sell a pen at 500, that 500 is the price, and that price is the promise. So what is going to help you keep up that promise is the execution. Yeah. So premium prices will always require premium experiences, and these experiences are not going to be attained by just giving out a number. They're going to be attained by you putting in various experiences. Going back to that video I sent in the group, you saw the experience. The guy had to for the $50 drink, the guy had to bring out a knife, yeah, play with tools, what, put pineapples, what, dress. Sometimes they even put good music. Mr. Bernard always gives an example of Cafe Javas. They bring drums, they drum, what, yeah. So they charge you your 70K. They dance for you. They sing for you happy birthday. They do all funny kind of things. You're going to lose track of the 70K because now that won't matter as long as they have kept that promise. They gave you a good food, they dance for you, so you're going to have a good experience, hence have to pay whatever amount they want to ask. So for those of you asking about the execution, think of execution as every touch point that you get to have between you and your clients. It could be from the first message, yeah, maybe you want to have Mr. Bernard at your shop to maybe help you with systems. What is the first message that Mr. Bernard is going to tell you? How is that first interaction? Yeah. Or the kind of meeting, are you presentable? Because remember, from the first P, perception, how do you get to show up at your client, like your potential customer? Yeah. Are you going to be presentable? Are you going to be confident? Yeah. When it comes to the payment processes, how is the execution? Is it an easy way that, you know what, just give me mobile money, it is free of charge, boom, go? That is going to be so important. The follow-ups. Now, maybe a guiding question to give you as far as execution is concerned. You need to ask yourself these two questions. Does each and every step in my business get to match up with the price I'm trying to ask? Or do I get to charge a premium price while delivering an average or trashy kind of service? Yeah. So it is the execution where your perceived value is going to get confirmed or destroyed. Execute in an average way, then you're going to be someone who is expensive, hence someone they won't even get to come to. Yeah. So I believe price is a long thing, but we've covered a lot, and I believe I've delivered on all the promises I gave. So we had understanding why pricing feels difficult. We looked at the practical example. We now know how to calculate our real price. We now identified the kind of customers we need to attract based on the prices we came up with. And now we have a framework to use, that is the price. So I believe my goal is fulfilled here, and I hope I've delivered. I hope I've not disappointed most of you. So unless if there's any other question,